Almost exactly 1 year ago, Cannondale released the current iteration to their ever-popular endurance bike, the Synapse. Now, when the bike launched, it provided the brand the opportunity to showcase their brand new SmartSense platform. Now, this technology allows the user to enjoy the benefits of running an integrated light and radar system whilst being fed by a singular removable battery. The bike also featured tyre clearance to the tune of 35mm, and it also enjoyed a whole new frame shape featuring drop seat stays to subtly improve the bike's aerodynamic performance. One of the questions we were left with when the bike launched was, what about the aluminium version? Well, as of just a few days ago, Cannondale released their new Synapse AL. It too has a newly designed frame shape featuring the same drop seat stays that are found on its bigger brother. Now, while I doubt this was done to create any sort of wattage gain, it should introduce a little bit more compliance into the frame. Plus, it does keep it on trend with other modern bikes. Tyre clearance isn't quite as large as it is on the carbon Synapse, as the AL claims it can only take up to 32mm wide tyres, but Cannondale do say that there would then be 6mm of space either side of the tyre, so we think you could potentially get something even bigger in there. The frame is littered in mounts and eyelets, so you should never be hard pressed to find places to put bags, accessories or bottles, and some models of the bike will even ship with its own top tube bag. But what about SmartSense, you might be asking? Well, all aluminium versions of the Synapse are SmartSense ready, meaning that the system can be fitted retrospectively, but more on that later. Here in the UK, 3 models of the bike will be made available, numbered quite simply from 1 to 3, with 1 being the highest specification made available. And essentially, the differences between the 3 will boil down to the group set that's been fitted. The Synapse AL1 will be fitted with a mechanical 105 hydraulic disc brake group set, the AL2 will be fitted with a hydraulic disc brake Tiagra group set, and the 3 will be fitted with a mechanical disc brake Sora group set. The only other notable change between the models is that the 3 will come with some pretty basic RD 3.1 wheels compared to the DT Swiss R470 rims that you'll find on the 1 and the 2. But we think that given some time, you're likely going to want to upgrade these wheels later anyway. How does this bike stack up to its competitors though? Well, this is where things get interesting. If we look at Trek, which offers the Domane in an aluminium version, it virtually matches the Synapse AL price point for price point with generally the same specification. Apart from one thing, that being the chainset. The Domane actually uses the matching Shimano chainset which accompanies the group set rather than the Synapse, which goes on to use more generic components, apart from the AL2, which does use a Tiagra chainset. Next, if we look at the Canyon Endurace, on their top spec aluminium model, you'll get the same 105 group set, 35mm of tyre clearance, Fulcrum wheels, and a Cell Italia saddle, all for just £1,699, just over £200 cheaper. The last bike I'll compare this to is the aluminium endurance offering from Giant, and that is their Contend AR. Now, it too offers a 105 build, but missing that 105 chainset. It has space for 40mm wide tyres, and it does come with a D-shaped seat post, which should improve compliance. Now, this one, well, that one comes in at £1,799, so just over £100 cheaper than the Synapse. While I could keep listing bikes from a whole horde of other brands, I believe these are the Synapse's main contenders, and it starts to outline where the new Cannondale sits amongst its key rivals. As we can see, the Cannondale is clearly right at the top of the bracket in terms of price, much like the Domane. Now, this is understandable as they both have a long reputation of being the best in the category. However, when you consider that you could be saving anywhere between £100 and £200 by opting for a Giant or Canyon, it's understandable why you might start having second thoughts. In the past, when we've reviewed both aluminium and carbon versions of the Canyon Endurace, they both scored 4 out of 5 stars, so the alternatives are still very good, despite maybe not having the cachet of being a Domane or a Synapse. Out of the brands I've already mentioned today, the Synapse is the only one to come in 3 model variants. The Domane, Endurace and Contend all have little brothers which utilise the Shimano Claris group set. Actually, apart from the Canyon, because that one opts to keep Tiagra but then use the rim brake version of the group set. So while the Synapse sits at the top of the bracket in terms of price, it's also the hardest platform to get onto with its entry-level price of £1,100. The final point that I'll make about the value of the Synapse is that over the coming year, it could potentially redeem itself. If the rumour mill is to be believed and a mechanical 12-speed 105 group set does come, along with an 11-speed Tiagra group set, then things could start to swing in Cannondale's favour. This is if they adopt the group sets like for like and they don't increase the price of the bikes, which is a big if. I believe that any potential 11-speed Tiagra group set will actually take up the reins that 105 used to hold in becoming the go-to group set for anyone that wants to take their cycling a bit more seriously. This could mean that the Synapse, priced at £1,650, could be the one to have for those wanting to indulge in their passion a little deeper. As I mentioned earlier, the Synapse AL is SmartSense compatible, meaning the bike is ready to host the hardware, but from new, the bike doesn't ship with any of the components. So, how much would it cost to obtain the full lights and radar system? Well, get ready, because here in the UK, it will cost £764.92. Wow! If you purchase the Synapse 3 for £1,100, you'll have spent almost 70% of the value of the bike on the system itself. If you're keen for the bulk of the functionality that SmartSense provides you, then perhaps look at buying the Garmin Varia RTL 515 and a really good quality front light, of which we have plenty in our buyer's guide, which is linked below. You'll likely end up spending in the region of £250, or a third of the cost of SmartSense. As this bike is still brand new to the market and here in the UK, we'll only likely see the Synapse AL2 in maybe late January, with the 1 and 3 rolling into bike shops in maybe early summer. I think until then, we'll reserve judgment of what we think the bike is actually like until we've got our hands on it. But until then, with the knowledge that we have so far, I'll be expecting another slam dunk from the American brand. What do you think of the new Synapse AL? Do you think it's still worth it, or would you actually rather opt for one of its better value rivals? Let me know down in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, then please do drop it a like, subscribe to the channel for more content, and I'll see you again very soon.